I finished the thing, so now what? Oh, teacher, I finished the challenge and I made it work. I finished the challenge.
Sorry, shoot, I forgot I didn't. I mute myself. So basically, great job. And then I will go ahead and you can share your screen later when we return. I'll return to the main session.
Okay, but okay.
All right. Okay. Great job. You can take a look. There are actually multiple solutions. If you want to take a look.
I already did one.
All right. If you want to take a look at multiple solution, you can. But yeah, great job. Excuse me. Yeah. All right. So how are you guys doing? So how are you guys doing? Doing good? Okay. So I noticed H write a lot of stuff on the board. Interesting. Did you write all these code, H? Okay. All right. Dana, Benjamin, Dalen. Do you guys have any question about anything he wrote? We're just don't want to assume he or she H wrote on the board. Can you guys like understand it?
I don't really understand solution 2. Like, I check solution 1 is correct. Like, I understand solution 1.
Okay. 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 Did you check if solution 2 works? Okay. Did you come up with solution 2 on your own? I think I just asked it. No. Okay, so did you search this Binance formula where you just know it? Okay, so some math stuff. All right, that's interesting. We'll take a look at your solutions. Well, that solutions I didn't expect anybody to get because, well, great job. You can try and see solution 2, and then see you can put them together, and then we can take a look. What would it work? Okay, great job.
We're basically done. And our other group is like back in there.
Okay. All right, so do you get a solution?
Yes, and can you allow me to share my screen?
I will allow you just a little bit. I'll just allow you just a little bit. All right, so I will go ahead and close all room.
Someone in our team like wrote the code. He didn't explain it though.
What?
He just like copied the code and then put it in and he put it in the chat. He didn't really explain it.
Okay, well that's not really good. We'll see. Can I explain it? All right, I will see. Can I explain this? All right. Welcome back. Hopefully you guys get some solution. If you guys haven't, that's all. That's okay, because we have several students actually get a solution, and there's a solution that is really interesting. In fact, I don't even know that solution, to be honest. They're just gonna wait Dalen and H to return. All right, so everybody's back. All right, everybody's back. And then does anybody come with a valid solution of recursion? If so, raise your hand. And then you can run the code. Make sure to put it in a interpreter or something. Did anybody come with a valid solution? And we're gonna go with the order that hand is raised. On Zoom, we have 3 people come with a valid solution. All right, then and then make sure you are able to explain what's happened. Okay. All right, Daniel, go for it. Share. Let's see if I can give you right to share your screen. Yep, you can share your screen, and then make sure you explain the code, what's happening, and then yeah, take a look.
Okay, so I used recursion. So what I started with was I had to mess with this, but eventually I got 4 variables originally set to something, and then I used a while loop with a statement. This term number just counts like like for example, the first term would have a term number of 1, the second would have 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way like that. So this just repeats it that many times. And then down here is the actual code for the recursion. So I said these 3 variables are important, since if you define it algebraically, you have the current term is equal to the sum of the previous 2. So that's what you have here. But then you need to redefine this one to equal this one, and then this one to equal the current one. And then it keeps on going until this condition isn't met. And then finally, it prints the term.
Okay, nice. That's a great solution. But one thing I just want to talk about is it is not a recursive solution. Recursive means you're calling a function within a function. Notice that you didn't actually call the Fibonacci function within your Fibonacci function. It's not a recursion, but it's an iterative solution, which is kind of like even harder to come up with, because the math formula, it is actually we can actually write the math formula that it has into a program that is like recursion, where we are calling a function within a function. But it looks great code so far. Do you want to try to type a number and see if it return correct response? You can type 10. Try type 10, because I'm pretty sure, or 7. I'm pretty sure 10 is 55. Nice, nice. All right, great. Looks like it works. All right. Does anybody have any questions? Does anybody have any questions? Just unmute yourself and ask. Forget about raise your hand. Anybody have any questions? No question. All right, great. So thanks for sharing your solution. Daniel, thank you for sharing your solution. Did you come up with the solution on your own?
Yeah.
All right, nice. All right, so that's an iterative solution. Notice that he uses a while loop to basically like loop through a certain number of time, and this time is determined on a term number and the number that's a user get, the position number. That's great. That's an iterative solution. All right, nice. So let's see. Tin Zhao, could you share your screen as well? Thanks.
Okay. This.
All right, so this is another iterative solution. Okay, so do you want to run a code?
Run. Wait, I need to. Wait, can you see it?
Yeah, we can.
Okay, so what number?
You can type number 10. All right, 55. Great. So do you want to? Nice. So I'm assuming. I think this code is working because I'm pretty sure 10 is 55. All right. Do you want to explain a little bit how your code is working? How your codes work?
So basically, I take X as the input, as like the which part of which index it is out of all of it, and then so I basically use it to make a list of all the Fibonacci sequence, and then take the index X. Except the list, I can't just create the entire thing because that'll take forever. And then so I create it up to the X, so then it's just enough that what you need. And then over here, yeah, this is kind of like what the other what Daniel did.
Yeah, I could see that. So you loop through a certain number of time where it's depend on the position number. Good. We see two iterative solution. Nice. Does anybody have any question with this solution? Anybody have any questions? Because after if we can get to Kahoot, we have a question about Kahoot on this recursive algorithm, which if we have time we take a special lesson on algorithm. All right, good, great. Well, thanks for watching. Thanks for thanks for sharing. Not thanks for watching. Great. And then Daniel's just said iterative. Yeah, because if you write the math formula, it's like f of n equals f of n minus 1 plus f of n minus 2, which you can notice that you are using f when you are actually defining that mathematic expression. Recursive solution is fine too. Yes, it is. In fact, I think H comes with two solutions. Do you want to share them all? All right. Nice. Okay. So, all right. So he, all right. You can just unmute and talk if you would you rather to type? This is okay. All right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I got it. The idea is simple. Okay. All right. Do you want to run the program? 5 is 550. Okay. Good. All right. So okay. So you explained it pretty well. I'm just gonna annotate a little bit. In fact, these two is what we call base case. All right. This is what we call base case, and the base case is basically, since this is recursive. You know what? I would just explain. Since there's some people raise their hand, I think if H can make some response to this question. So Qin Zhao, you're the first one to raise your hand. Do you have any questions?
Oh, I just forgot to put it down from before.
Okay. All right. Sophie, do you have any question? Okay, then I'll start chatting. Let's see. Yeah, I'm pretty sure when sign up, it should tell you. Yeah, I'm recording because they are going to publish to YouTube afterward. It's not my decision, and whether it's legal or not, it's really not up to me. They asked us to record it. All right. Okay, so if you want to find a recording, it's gonna available at YouTube. Okay, it's gonna available at YouTube, and then I will tell you when they upload to YouTube, which then is supposed to let me know, which then I
But
can.
we're publicly posting this.
Yes, I'm surprised that you don't actually know this because I saw that they told you already when you sign up the course. They don't tell you. They didn't. I saw they are gonna publicly make it viewable.
But you can set it to unlisted, which means only if you have the link. You can't search it up or something.
You can search it up. You can just search Alphademic Learning and they have all the past Zoom sessions there.
Yeah, I know, but if you can set it to unlisted.
Yeah,
So,
I don't manage a YouTube channel. So
okay.
I know there's unlisted option, but they're gonna make every video public because they want it searchable. So it's not really mine. You can talk to the admin. So yeah. All right. Well, does anybody else have any questions? So Sophie, do you have any question? The code, right? Okay, the code. All right. Good. All right. Great. Okay. So this, so this is what we call a recursive algorithm. Kind of recursive algorithm. What will be a better way to write this is, here is what you can do to make it even better. I will go ahead and propose some suggestion to this algorithm here. And then here's what I suggest you to do. You actually don't need this helper function since that's not really necessary in this case. So I could write a def, and then I could write a function. So in this, I'm just gonna call this f, which take in a variable x. All right. The first two are gonna be the same. If x equals to 1 or x equals to 2, I'm gonna return 1. But what it would be better is you would add an else here. You would add an else, or you don't have to add an else, to be honest, because since we add return here, you don't have to add an else. But here what you can do is you can actually just call this f equals to f. You can just say this. Actually, let me just erase this really quick. Zoom, this part's kind of complicated. Okay, you can also do this. Else, you can call return. I think, yeah, return f x minus 1 plus f x minus 2. Notice that this part is actually the mathematical expression of a Fibonacci number, right? So we can just say f equals to f x minus 1 plus f of x minus 2. Because the following term is depends on the previous two terms. So we could use it what we call a function within a function. That's what we call recursion. And if you try that out, I'm pretty sure it should work. So if you want to try f, you can just try to type like f3, f3, forget about this. So f3, I can try 10, put 10 here, and it should give you 55 as an output as well. because it's basically the same thing as our mathematic. And then this is a little bit more efficient. You need to add a parenthesis since you're using Python 3. Yeah. You can comment out. You can comment out line 69 or yeah, it's fine. So you can see we got the same solution. The first solution gives us 55. The second also gives 55. So basically, we just change the helper a little bit, and then we're just gonna add this, modify it somehow, and change to here. So great. So that's the two solutions that we most commonly see. So great job, actually. Before I leave, just before I talk, but do you guys have any question? Nope. All right. Good. Okay. So thanks for sharing your code. H. Thanks for sharing your code. Great. So now, I just want to recap a few things. So we learned, so throughout this discussion, we see generally mostly two kind of solution. We see an iterative solution and as well as a recursive solution. Recursive solution. Okay. All right. So, okay. Let's see. All right. So there is a question I want to ask. Do you guys see what do you guys think it's better? Whatever you think the better means. What do you think it's better? Is it an iterative solution or recursive solution? Which one do you think is better? So basically, is the first two students work the solution or the final student's solution after I change it a little bit? What do you guys think is the best? Whatever do you think the best mean? I'm not going to give a best in here just yet. You guys, how about this? I'm going to do a poll. If you guys think recursive is good, could you guys raise your hand? If you guys think recursion is good, or it's better than iterative, we'll see how many people are voting their hand for recursive solution. All right, so I just found out that not all people participate in polling. So in real world, I can just say like, I can just count the rest of the kids. But okay, we got 2 vote for it. Recursion is better.
But how do you join poll?
Don't worry about that. I don't think, since this is using a school Zoom account, because school Zoom account don't have that 40 minutes limit, but I cannot do poll. So you guys can just raise your hand on Zoom. Yeah. All right. So that's all recursive. We can just yell if you don't know how to raise your hand. It's fine. Just let me know your decision. So we got 2 votes for recursion. How many people think iterative is better? Iterative is better. How many people think iterative is better? All right, see, not a lot of people are participating in voting. Okay. Just gonna go through the chat really quick. I think, is everyone iterative but cannot raise their hand a little bit? Cannot raise their hand for some reason? Okay. Well, let's see. We actually have 4 people. All right. So you can see that more people think, okay, is there even more? Okay, well, no. All right. So you can see there is more people think iterative is better than recursive. I'm not gonna reveal which one is correct. you guys can do some research and to find out recursive solution and iterative solution. And then later in the course, we would not specifically focus on algorithm design. But if we have time, or at the final class, I will kind of review which one's better and then what exactly better means, okay? But that's about it for this little coding question, which costs us about 1 hour. But I think this is valuable because guys can make some discussions and then stuff like that, okay? All right. So I will go ahead and start my Git pod environment, and then we'll go ahead and get started with some coding. Get started with some coding. And then technically at the end of this class, you can see why recursion, which one's better, okay, if you pay attention close enough. You guys can start talking to chat as well. Okay. All right, so I'm just gonna share my screen, waiting for the environment to turn on. All right. How's online school going for you guys? Does anybody, how's on better than your salt? Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like not really doing great for me, but I think it's fine. At least you don't have commute time. I don't have to get up that early. At least it's like, you use Microsoft Teams? That's nice. Our school don't even give a free Microsoft product. Just a salt. Yeah, elementary school is obviously. Okay. All right. It's hard to stare at the screen. Yeah, it is for a long time. But I mean, if you guys want to do a programming in the future, it's more like your job. Stare at the screen. You guys want to do any IT related field? Does anybody want to? Let's see. 10 minutes break. Our school has like, technically our school have like 30 minutes break around between each classes. So we don't have 3 class, but I mean, it says 30 minutes. They call what we call asynchronous and synchronous learning time, which in synchronous learning, I'm just gonna consider as a break. All right, there we go. Final. Synchronous time? No, never. Well, I mean, my teachers don't talk about that much during synchronous time anyway, so. Read it. Interesting. Let me just wait for this browser to turn back on. All right. All right, so now I want to talk about okay. So now what I want to do is I want to go ahead and talk about how to use loop in Python. How to use loop in Python. And then I'm pretty sure that you guys do, but okay. So we'll take a look of how Python's loop is different than other languages loop. In fact, it's actually like really different, kind of like really different, but we'll take a look. I'm going to create a new file, and I'm just going to name it loop.py, okay? Okay, so let's get started. So there are two kind of loop in Python. Does anybody know these two loops in Python? Like most popularly used two loops. While is one. If it's not a loop, for, yeah. Two most used loop, maybe like kind of like only loop, but it's for and while loop. I think there's a loop called do while loop in Python, but that's rarely used. But for loop. So here is how can we use the for loop. I'm just gonna quickly write a for loop. All right. This is an example of for loop. All right, this is example for loop. As you guys can see in the chat, people are making a lot of examples of for loop, and all of them are correct. Here is a format for loop. You're like, wait, what is for I in range of parenthesis 10? What's that mean? Well, first of all, just like when you create a function, you need to start with def. For loop, you need to start with for. Okay, I don't think I can draw. Oh my god. Oh, I'm still sharing the whiteboard? Oh, okay. I'm still sharing the whiteboard. No wonder I cannot draw. Okay, let's see. Sorry about that. All right, can you guys see it now? I think I should be able to see it now. Okay, so there are two kind of loop. For loop and a while loop. Right, while loop. And then they have different format, sort of. So for I in range of 10. What's that mean? What that mean? So let's let me just select Python interpreter really quick since that's gonna matter. 3.2. Yeah. All right. So for I in range of 10 pass, here is basically what's happening. We're using a keyword called for, and then we're looping through range of 10. And then we can take a look what it is exactly inside of a range of 10. So notice range is actually considered a function. Obviously, you're going to have return value. That's why we can use it. And if you say range of 10 here, notice it's literally just a range of 0 and 10. But let me see if I can do this. Notice now what happened. I changed this range object, this range function, or the output of this range function into a list. And then there are 10 items in that list. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Exactly as specified, 10 items right upon here. All right. And as we talked about from last week, programming language, especially like Python, like to begin with number 0 because they are designed to make us confused. All right. And then it's ends in 9. So instead of 1 to 10, as we will count, it starts at 0 and at 9, 0 to 9. And then now it will say, okay, what's that I then? Well, this I represent what we call a counter variable. And then I basically just going to be, every iteration of this loop is going to be one element from this list, this range or this list. Every time it's going to be, for the first time we run this loop, it's going to be 0. Then next iteration is going to be 1, 2, 3, etc. until it reaches 9. After it reaches 9, the loops end and the program quits. Okay? And then, so what we could see is we could just take a look at the I. Okay, take a look at the I. So we can see what's happened. All right. So now let me go ahead and turn my autosave on.
Broken.
What? What is broken?
Sorry. My GitHub doesn't work.
Your GitHub doesn't work.
Yeah, every time I try to do Python at that part, it doesn't work.
Git pod is just annoying.
All right. Okay. Okay. Are you using the Git pod?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and can you paste this code too?
Well, okay. Can I paste the code?
Yeah. After we do this section thing.
Okay, sure. I will see if I can make it even public after the. So just let me know, okay? Just let me know so I will remember to actually share you a zip file with all the code in it. All right. So I will take a look at your issue in just a little bit after I finish this loop section. Okay, so this is so now let's go ahead and run this. Run this loop.py. Now you can see we have 0 to 9. Just like we see in our range, which gave us a list from 0 to 9, exactly loops through for 10 times. Sometimes you will use this I, sometimes you won't. Okay, sometimes you won't. And instead of range, this can be anything you want. This can be a literal list. We can just say 1, 3, 5, 7. And then, not sure would this work. Okay, it work. Where you can say in the range of the length. So len just gonna give you the length of this list, which is 4. And if you run this, because we see 0, 1, 2, 3. And it's basically gonna loop through 4. So it's 0, 1, 2, 3. So it's pronounced 0, 1, 2, 3. All right. So for loop is a way to save us some time. All right. So let's talk about another thing, which is while loop. While loop. All right. While loop. And then while loop, it's gonna be something like this. While true. All right. So as somebody mentioned in the chat, this is what we call an infinite loop. Infinite loop. Does anyone guess what this infinite loop means? It's kind of like literally, but anybody want to?
It loops on infinitely and crashes your computer.
Yeah. It basically for example, while true. You said it's true, so it's while true.
Well,
Print hello. It's just going to print hello until it crashes, and then it's not going to work.
Okay. Yes, this is what we call.
Unless you use a break.
basically what you do is you take while and then you add a Boolean variable, and if it's true, it runs. If it's false, it does not run.
Okay, that's basically about while loop. All right, now we learned while loop, and let's move on to the next topic. That's exactly what this while loop is. Okay, and then these two people, I think one is Sophia. I recognize her voice now. I don't recognize that people's voice. So, basically, they mentioned everything that we need about while loop. Okay, this is the infinite loop, means it runs continuously, never stop. With an exception, which he mentioned as well, break. All right. And then we actually have another thing called continue, which is not going to break out of this loop per se, but it's going to do something else. And then another case is true. So basically, this is what we call a Boolean expression, which is a variable that's only have true or false value. Boolean. They only have true and false value. So in here, what you can think is while true, it's basically the same thing as while 1 equals to 1. Because 1 is always equals to 1. So this is loop gonna run infinite. And of course, I'm not gonna show a demo. You can try. to see if it works because I don't want to crash my computer, crash the Zoom. So I don't have, like, the Zoom actually randomly stopped for some reason already. So I don't want to try to run this while infinite loop. But you can try. You can try because I think in the environment, this should not directly harm your computer. But you can try infinite loop. It never ends, okay? And then you can press Ctrl+C on terminal if you actually run this. All right, so now let's talk about how to actually break out of this infinite loop. That what we call break. And then we're gonna add a break just like here. Break basically means exit the loop. Okay, it's over now, let's exit the loop completely. All right, so basically you can imagine if it's a for loop, if I said something like this, if it is a for loop, I say something like for I in range of 10, and then if I equals to 4, I just want to say break. All right. Notice now what's going to happen is notice now what's going to happen is if I print out I afterwards, Notice now it's only print out 0, 1, 2, 3 because in the for, when I is 4, now the loop stopped. All right. In the contract, we have in the contrast, not contract, not saying contract with anybody. We have what we call continue. Continue basically means skip this iteration only. Skip this iteration. So now you can see continue. So instead of I equals, now you can see in the print out, if you pay attention closely, we see 0, 1, 2, 3, but directly jump to 5. We didn't see 4 because before it actually prints out, 4 already gets skipped. Because continue just means, okay, let's go back to the top of the loop, increment I by 1, or just go to the next iteration, whatever next iteration is. So basically skip iteration. This is break and continue, and the while loop and infinite loop. Okay. All right. So does anybody have any question with loop? Anybody have any question at all?
No.
No. Okay, good. So now what I want to talk about is class. Class is what do we call class. I think we actually have time to do a Kahoot. I create some Kahoot that create another Kahoot you guys can do. And then I'm actually gonna, so last time the winner is Sophie, and I actually want to plan to give you guys some award for being a winner of Kahoot. But I'm maybe not gonna give it to every winner, but we'll see how many winner I can give. But here, this is class.py. Now let's talk about class. I asked this question, but I don't, okay, let's just say this. Does anybody heard of class? Okay, somebody heard of class, I don't know why I asked that, but does anybody want to try to explain what it is a class does specifically?
So kind of. So for example, if you're like trying to make something like a card with like a name and like a favorite color and stuff like that, you can make a class with those parts in it, and then you can just use one line of code to make you can make infinite of the cards with only one line of code each, instead of having more stuff.
Okay, so that's let's just use card as example. That's a great example. Okay, so if I have a code, I highly recommend you type this out actually. Okay, this is really important. Class, also known as object-oriented programming, is a program paradigm.
Isn't that like Java?
Yeah, that's exactly what's happening in Java. Java is like entirely object-oriented because like whatever you need to do, you need to create a class. Like just simple hello world and you create a class. Scanner is a class. Everything's a class. Now, same thing happened in JavaScript. Though JavaScript is not heavily built on object-oriented programming because itself is a web development language. We'll take a look at JavaScript as well. But we'll see. Okay, it's not really that object-oriented heavy, but for Python, it's kind of something that you used. Maybe another thing we're gonna talk about tomorrow. Next class is we're gonna see how can we import a class. But let's take a look how can we create our own class. We said class is card, and then here's what we're going to do. I'm just gonna create a variable. The hard code is the variable. Name is going to equal to my full name. I'm gonna create my email as well. And then, yeah, that's about it for now. That's about everything I need to do for now. And then turns out that I can create a new card instance. I can create a new card instance of this card. So what's the actual card? Well, let me just assign to a variable. And then you can imagine this is used similarly as a function.
Wait, but inside the class, are you supposed to def init first?
We're going to talk about that in just a little bit.
Oh yeah, post to close key.
We're going to talk about that Thunder method in a little bit. Okay, so C equals card. And then now I'm going to do something fancy. All right, so here's what I want to do. I want to go ahead and say import card. Okay, well, from class, import card. I don't think I need to do this. Okay, let's take a look. This is C. This is a variable. And then if you take a look, you can see it's called __ main _ dot card object at 0x7f6bde blah blah blah. Just a trivia question. Does anybody know what this means? This is really trivia. Does anybody know what this like weird string looking means? Unless you learn C or really old programming language, you won't know it, because this is what we call a memory address. This is where it located memory, as in hexadecimal. Don't worry about that. But notice now I actually have a dot card object created. All right. So now I could access some property of it using dot notation. Notice I create a name. So I can just say C dot name. And then now you can see I got my name. Now what I can do is C dot email, and then here's my email. So you notice that after I create a class, I could get my information that's stored in that class. These are all variables, so basically I can access a class variable, okay? So these are something that we can do. Basically, I can just create some variable and keep track of it. But now to make it a little bit more fancier, instead of hard coding card, which is going to involve hard coding my name and email, what I want to do is be able to let user, just like function, you can provide what your name and email is, and I'm going to store that into our card. And here is when I'm going to introduce you to first magic function, maybe the final magic function I'm going to introduce. It's what we call init method. It's basically a function def __ init _ self. And then here it's going to take some additional arguments. Self. It's going to take a name and email, as that's what are we going to assign to. And here you're going to say self.name equals name, self.email equals email. Before I explain what self is, you just need to remember self should always be the first argument that's used in every class function. No matter is it underscore or the magic function or your own constant function. And you might ask, wait, what is self for? Self is literally represented, the function itself, the class itself, sorry, or the C in this case, literally represent the class itself, the instance that's created. So instead of like just change everything within the class, it just change that instance. And then you can imagine then that this is a dictionary where you can just use dot notation, self.name. This is like a property, and this is like a value. So you can use self.name equals to something to assign a value to the self, and then we can use it later in other function. And then you can use self.email equals email. Okay? And then to make it a little bit more interesting, I could define another function called getEmail, taking the self, and then here I'm just gonna say return self.email. So it's gonna return whatever the email is. Okay. All right. So again, self is a way to store variable and use it across different function methods within the class. Now let me go ahead and run this Python thing again. Okay. So now because we immediately got a type error. Notice now, since we are expecting 2 arguments from a user, whenever we're creating a class, we need to actually provide them. I can provide my name and my email address. And then I can run this. And then now if I try to use C, this is the same thing we see, and then I can do this, c.getEmail. Now I can say I can actually see my email without just typing c.email. Well, we can get it just using c.email anyway, but we can just use it by c.getEmail. So this is a little bit like a getter. We can get information from self. And you can just remember self as a dictionary, whereas you can keep track of different values. So self, the name is a key, and this name after equal sign means value. So self the email. All right. Does anybody have any question at all? Does anybody have? Yep.
In the chat, like things. Can you post the code in both of the files in the like loop in class file?
Okay, I will go ahead and get you guys a zip folder. Actually, you know what? I'm just gonna give you guys a link since that's gonna be easier for me. Snapshot. And then let me send chat. The typing stuff just don't work. What do you mean by don't work? Oh, somebody said memory location. Okay, never pay attention to the chat. See, because like there's no way for me to keep track of all these chat. It is memory location H. Great job, you're still in here. Which you are. All right, good. So now, let's see how much time we have. All right, so now I want to talk about inheritance. So it turns out that just like we can actually inherit a class. For example, instead of just card, I'm just gonna call this business card. And then it's gonna inherit from this card class that we created. Okay. And here's what's gonna happen. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna define another init method. Okay, here's where my memory got a little bit rusty. I'm not sure would it work. Okay, I think we need to do this. Super.init. And then here we need to provide 2 values, name and email. Because here's what's happening. So we're actually create a child class from that parent class. All right, so we're creating a new class, but it's based on this card class. And then first of all, I need to make sure that, so it's basically gonna inherit everything to this business card, unless you override it. So unless you create a new function called getEmail, same thing here, it should work. So basically we can call getEmail, despite we didn't actually implement this directly in business card class. But now I can just init this, so I would expect 3 things this time. Name, email company. All right. So now in here I can just say, first of all, okay, since now I'm creating my own init function, let's overwrite the cards init function. So I need to go out and use the super. So super basically just get back to this card class, and then I can call the method.init. Basically, I can just reinitialize the information to the old class first, and then here I can just say self.company equals company. Okay, and then let's take a look. Let's take a look what will it look like. And then here I'm gonna do something like this. I'm gonna say business card. Okay, so here I'm gonna say this. B equals to business card. And I'm gonna provide three things: name, email, and company. Boyuan, email is this. Company is Alphademic, despite we're not really an official company. Let's press enter. Now I can see we got a new business card object. And then let's see if I get it correct. See if our get email works. It still works because it inherited the get email function from this parent class. And then we can also see, okay, let's see, do we have the company? Yes, we do. We do have our company, Alphademic. All right. So does anybody have any question at all with this? With how class work, inheritance, and stuff like that? I know I covered really briefly and kind of fast because Python intro is not what we focus on. I'm actually going to focus on using some specific module.
Like post a new code, like I just put the old code in my REPL, and like when I opened your snapshot thing, I didn't get the new code.
Oh yeah. You had to have an account first. Excuse me. Okay, so let's see if I can download. So I can download this. Okay. I recommend you to type it out because it's going to be a little bit hard for me to find us in my messy download folder. And my Zoom's glitched out again. All right. It's gonna take forever for me to find it. Okay, so I'm just gonna share the class.py for now because that's the most important one. And we got one more people left. More people sleeping. Okay, so. All right. You print c.get email, are you supposed to get the email put in? Yeah, that's exactly how it should work. All right. So nobody have any, does anybody have any further question on class? Because that's all I'm gonna really talk about. Well, if now, here's what we're going to do. We're going to talk about one final topic, which is it doesn't work. Okay, so I need more specific than that. What doesn't work? What doesn't work? I mean, if you copy exactly and then do exactly that on the screen, it should work because it's the same code. Okay. Yeah, I would say error message. just make sure, no error. Do you see anything? Do you see anything? Blank console? I don't get your question, but type exactly should work. All right. Okay.
I have the exact same problem.
Like the part where you call the function?
Yeah.
No, like, like when I run something, even like if it's like the simplest command, like print and then something, it just doesn't show up. It's not saying any error, and when I type in the console, none of the commands work. Like exit doesn't work, and like yeah.
Yeah, typing in the workspace /test empty repo just does not work.
Yeah, it's just typing /home /getpod /.penv/version /3.8.5 /bin /python space /workspace /test empty repo /l.python.
Okay. So you could type, right? You could type on your editor.
I can type in the console, but
Type your code.
what?
So can you type your code? Not in the console, but just in the regular text editor.
I can type it in the text editor, but when I click run, it just says /home /getpod /dot.
Okay. So it said Python. Is this say something like not found or something?
No, it's just saying /home /getpod /dot penv. Yeah.
Okay. Well, if you could you type Python?
Where?
Your terminal.
Into the
console. Yeah.
Okay, so. Well, when I press enter, it just goes to the next line.
Did it print out anything at all?
It doesn't print out anything.
So you didn't see stuff like on my screen.
Yeah, like when you like type C dot, like in the first one before the inheritance, you just type like C dot name and like it printed out your name. Like that stuff just does not work.
Okay, how about this? Could you double check in this part you have Python 3.8.2 64 bits on?
Well, like my Python is always up to date, and like I tried the exact same thing, but in the IDE app, and it just works perfectly fine.
Okay, could you share your screen, please?
It's because Gitpod is weird. I can't share my screen because my Zoom is on a different computer than the computer that I'm working on.
Okay. Okay.
Screenshot.
Okay, so it's gonna be hard. I didn't let them to download their Python because downloading gonna take like the infinite time. But okay. Is it like two people have the same problem? So can other kids share their screen, please? Can other student like share their screen have the same problem?
Just don't use Gitpod.
Look, they don't. I don't think they have Python downloaded. Okay.
I have PyCharm.
Okay. Well, use PyCharm instead. But if you have any question, just don't ask me. Like, unless it's Python related question. If it's PyCharm, I never used PyCharm before. You can try to use PyCharm and see if it works. Okay. Are you on Windows or Mac?
You could just use REPL.
PyCharm does. I coded a lot of stuff on PyCharm before.
Okay. Yeah, you can use PyCharm. REPL only good for first 4 weeks after we pass that, it's just going to be a mess. That's why we want to use Gitpod. Because Gitpod is more like an online IDE, integrated development environment. Okay, but okay. How about this? Let's not worry about the code. Do you understand the class? Do you understand the code? Like, do you understand what's happening?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. All right. As long as you understand it, it's fine. But if but that's a real weird question. I mean, a problem. Not question. That's a good question. Okay. All right. So what I would recommend you do is try to see Python works. All right. And then, well, actually don't. There's one more code I want to cover, and then we can play some Kahoot. Okay. So here's what I want to do. I'm gonna create a file called .csv. So let's just call this data.csv. Actually, no. Let's keep it even easier. But since we just created it, okay. Does anybody know what a CSV means? What does CSV stand for? Does anybody know it?
I don't know what CSV means.
Okay. CSV means comma separated value. Okay. It means comma separated value. And then basically, you just can type data by just like pressing comma. So like comma separated. So in first line, we would type name, comma, note with no space, name, comma, directly to, you can imagine it's like a column. So it's really great on organizing data, editing data, so like importing and exporting data, but it's not good at viewing or beautify the data. Okay, especially if you have a lot of information. All right, but here's what I'm going to do. We're going to talk about context manager. So let me go ahead and create a new file. I'm just going to call it ctx.py. All right, so here's what I'm going to do. Context manager is a way to manage how we're dealing with a file, okay? So it's really easy. To start with a simple context manager, you can just type open. And then you could just deal, actually no, we're gonna do something like this. We're gonna type with, open, and then this is basically you want to open up a file. And then where is the file located? Well, I just want to open this data.txt, right? And then I will say as f. F basically means how should I reference this file? So you can just imagine you're in a little function that you created. And here I can just say f.read. So basically, I want to read what's happening in this file. So I want to read what's exactly is in this file. And then if I try to run Python ctx.py, you can see nothing happened. No error, that's good. I could attempt to print out something. Could make attempt to print out f.read. Okay, let's see. You can see we got this empty line. Okay? But now here's what's interesting part. If I put some data in here, for example, if in the data.txt I should type hello on the first line, world on the second line, and then now if I try to read it again, notice now it actually be able to read the data from this file. In this case, hello world. Okay? In this case, hello world. And then I'm just gonna touch it really briefly, but more you can do your own research. Okay? This class is really like more on your own research, especially assignment as it's getting quote unquote harder and harder. But this is basically how could you read a file. You could also write a file, but that would require you to add a second argument, mode, to when you open this. You can say it was open data.txt w. This means write. And then here I can just say this, f.write. I can say, let's see. I overwrite welcome. Let's just say this. Welcome from Python. Okay. Welcome from Python. And then now if I try to run this file again, Run this ctx.py again. Don't get any error, that's good. And now if you go back to data.txt, notice now the entire thing got overwritten to welcome from Python. So the entire thing got overwritten. All right, so that's really interesting. So again, context manager is a way to manage different file. Notice that we can use it by just basically using simple 2-line with open data.txt, comma, w as f.write welcome from Python. Okay, so does anybody have any question at all with context manager? I cover it really briefly, but does anybody have any question? Let's see. No. All right. So now what are we going to do as our final part is we're going to play a Kahoot. So if I haven't used Kahoot before, you can go to kahoot.it, and then later I'm going to share a game code which you can join. Okay. I hope everybody who's currently in this Zoom meeting now can play this Kahoot, and then can learn the stuff. Okay. So I'm just going to log in really quick. And the last winner is Sophie. Let's see if Sophie can keep her score up. All right. Anybody have any special plan for the rest of the week? I'm gonna share GIMP pen in just a little bit. I'm still trying to get this Kahoot thing set up. I shouldn't really close it once I created this. So again, you could use your code, okay? You could run some code unless it just said, read this code and see if there's any error. Don't run this. But otherwise, it will explicitly tell you that use the code that you're learning from class, tell me what's a response. So that's why I just want you to open up. So you guys make sure how do you do the Fibonacci sequence, because that's actually important. And then we have roughly about 15 minutes left. Hope I can open this Kahoot in 3 minutes or so. Thank you for your patience while I got this Kahoot running. My computer's really laggy. For some reason, Google thinks Kahoot is a video game. Interesting enough.
Wait, you're stuck on like the
Code, right?
No, you're stuck on the bit.ly thing.
Wait, what? What bit.ly?
You're still
You're on
sharing
GitPod.
the bit.ly thing. You're not sharing the Kahoot screen.
Yeah, I'm not sharing the Kahoot because I'm trying to get in the Kahoot now. You should see the code unless you haven't, which is fine because I'm trying to get the code running. I mean, I'm trying to get the Kahoot running. I'm gonna try my mobile as well. Freak, it's gonna call my phone.
Hello, thank you for using Google Phone Verification. Remember, you should not share this code with anyone else, and no one from Google will ever ask for this code. Your code is...
He should have not muted.
Okay, in response to that question, yes, I know I shouldn't have muted. Muting is just that second where it's gonna say your code is. Yeah, mute that purposefully. Okay, come on, just load the Kahoot. Apparently Kahoot's not cooperate with me today. And the consequence, I'm gonna infer Safari instead. Sorry guys, we're gonna see, can we do have enough time? I'm sorry, my computer is really laggy. Okay, there we go, actually loads. Come on, Kahoot. See if we have enough time.
It's still stuck on like the bit.ly.
Now it shouldn't stuck. You should be able to see the empty page.
Well, you're still on the bit.ly thing.
Yeah.
I'm still on that?
Yeah,
Okay.
just stop screen sharing and then share it again.
Yeah.
Right.
Come on. Okay. I'm not gonna share until I got the Kahoot set up. Should get it set up earlier. I don't know, my computer's so laggy today. Never works. All right, finally, there we go. Okay, let me share the screen now, I suppose. Oh, sincerely hope it works finally for now, for once. Can you guys see the empty screen now?
No, it says Boyuan Liu has started sharing content and like it's
Okay. Okay, oh God, this Kahoot thing though. Oh my God, the computer is so laggy today for no reason. Again, I'm gonna just attempt to stop share. Okay. Zoom is also extraordinarily glitchy. Okay, just.
Actually, you don't need the screen share. Just tell us like the game pin.
No, you had to use the questions on my screen as well. That's why you need it. Okay.
And then you can say the questions as well then.
Oh my God, just after it loads, it's quite close. Okay, I'm gonna attempt to try one more time. Okay, so sorry about that. Okay, my computer's going really slow. Okay, you guys can hear the sound, right? It's on my phone. Okay, can you guys see it? Okay, I don't think so. Okay. Okay, so sorry about that. How about this? Okay. Not sure if this works. It's on my phone. Okay, can I wait more? Join the code 6275113. 6275113. Go to Kahoot.it or other platform. Jonathan and H are here. Okay. All right, can you guys see the screen a little bit now? Can you see the screen a little bit?
I can't see it.
You can or you can't?
I can't see it. It's still a black screen.
Can I see my camera? See my picture?
I can see your picture, but your phone is really dim and I can barely see anything.
I turn my light nights to the maximum. Okay, I will just attempt to read out the question, which I'm pretty sure it's gonna go okay. All right, is everybody in? Gonna count down for 10 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, join for whenever you want. All right, gonna listen, okay, it's even more complicated. What is the most efficient way of printing number 1 to 10? Use a loop. Just use print statement 10 times. Use an infinite loop, but break when number is 10. Use an infinite loop, but continue when number is 10. Again, use a loop. Just use print statement 10 times. Use an infinite loop, but break when number is 10. All right. So it looks like we got 8 people is correct. Okay. It's yeah. So basically, I'm gonna pause. So whenever
Can you read the scoreboard?
Read the scoreboard. I will. Okay. So basically, again, reading a pattern from red, blue, yellow, green. And this is a pattern for my reading. Okay. And 8 people get that one correct. And the people who have the most point is, I'm not sure, can you guys see it, is Ice Penguin, 808. Now, Qin Zhao, Mr. Human. For some reason, a person with my name also joined, and Daniel. All right, each was respective of some points. Ice Penguin is the first. All right, second quiz. What is an example of correct recursion? Okay, def f of I print out I. For I in range of 10, f of I. Okay, first thing, okay, this is gonna be hard. I'm just gonna skip this one. There's no way we can do this without seeing it. Okay, what is an infinite loop? An infinite loop can only occur in while loop where it never ends. An infinite loop can only occur in for loop where it never ends. An infinite loop is a loop without counter variable. An infinite loop can only occur in any loop where it never ends. Yes, indeed. An infinite loop can occur in any loop where it never ends. 4 people got it correct. Most people missed on an infinite loop can only occur in while loop where it never ends. It doesn't have to occur in while loop. It can occur in for loop as well. You just need to make the range really into infinity. You could do that. And then infinite, okay, let's see. What's the most point now? H had the most points, 1,300. Kind of Ice Penguin, not Qin Zhao, Mr. Human, and myself, which I'm not sure when I'm in the game. All right, what will be the output of the following code? Print type parenthesis 1.0. You guys see the code? Type 1.0 print. I forgot to type print there. So what will happen if you print out type parenthesis 1.0? Okay, does every people quit or something?
Wait, but I couldn't see the choices.
Yeah, I couldn't see the choices either. So
Oh shoot. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. I forgot to see the choices. Sorry.
And
okay.
also, can you just share your phone screen?
There's no way I can. It's not on my computer.
Okay.
All right. Okay. There should be somehow can not count that question. If you want to store a bunch of duplicates number in Python, which data structure works the best? Red is tuple, blue is list, yellow is dictionary, green is set. If you want to store a bunch of duplicated number in Python, which data structure works the best? Tuple, list, dictionary, set. Indeed, it is list. Tuple doesn't work because it is to more like a pairing value. Set doesn't work because set is a duplicated numbers, and the best way is to use list. Okay. All right. See, Ice Penguin coming back up. Now Chinjiao and Boyuan myself. Great job. Will be the output of following code: class, book, def, init, self, title, self.title equals title. Okay, can you guys see the code? Oh my God. You know what? I'm gonna skip this. I'm gonna skip this. And this doesn't count. This does count. There's some code. Okay, what is not CSV file good for? Organizing data, exporting data, importing data, beautify data. What is not CSV file good for? Organizing data, exporting data, importing data, beautify data. Indeed, it is beautify data that is not CSV is good at. All right, let's see. Good. I think Daniel. Okay, what is a context manager? A context manager manages how we dealing with file in Python. Open, write, close. A context manager manages how we write into file. A context manager manages how to decode a file. A context manager manages where the file is being stored. What is a context manager? Indeed, a context manager manages how we dealing with the file. I'm sorry we had to go with this way. We'll see the winner. Who's going to be actually the winner? It's going to be Miracle. All right, Daniels, Not Chinjiao, Boyuan, H, and Mr. Human are the top 5. Number 9, use a code you have in class. What is fib of 26? In a Fibonacci sequence, what's the position number of 26? What's the actual value? Red is 75025, blue is 121393, yellow is 121395, green is 75027. Nobody get it correct. Yeah, this is complicated. You're supposed to have the computer share.
I searched it up on Google, but I couldn't. I didn't know which one was which.
Fib of 26. Yeah, I forgot about read the options. So just rushed through in the final 10 seconds. We'll see who can win. We'll see what's a maximum question people can get correct. Is Python.org the official documentation for Python? True or false? Is Python.org the official documentation for Python? Somebody said false? Okay, who said false? I have to know this. Who said false? Raise your hand if you said false.
So I clicked true, but my computer browser shifted in the,
Okay, all right, good. That's 1. What about the rest of 4? This 4 is false. It literally is. Python.org. You can go there to check it out. It's the documentation. All right. Okay, here's the winner. H is the third place. I'm in the second place. And who get the first? Not Chinjiao get the first.
How did I win? I
Great
monitored
job.
2 accounts.
Great job.
I'm both first and second.
Don't worry about it. I mean, the question is fine.
I'm both first and second place.
All of you guys get like 5 out of 9. It's just your speed. All of you
I
guys.
monitored 2 accounts.
Oh, really? Okay, cool. But you still won. All right, great job.
I got first and second place.
Oh, you got first and second. Well, that's even better. Great. All right. So Sophie won the first one. You won the second round of Kahoot. We'll see can we make the third one better. All right. So there will be a homework assignment assigned on tomorrow. So thanks for attending this class. Do you guys have any questions? That's nice. Do you guys have any questions? No, you can leave now. Thanks for attending the class. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. See you next week. Bye, Penguin.